Good morning, Zoolife. Can you see us? Can you hear us? If you can, let us know in the comment section. If you can't, also let us know in the comment section. We are back. We apologize for all of the technical issues last week, but we are back today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Katie. I'm one of the leopard keepers here at the Santa Barbara Zoo. Oh, good. We have a hello. You can see us. Yes, that's awesome. And today we are joined by a very special guest, somebody you have not met yet, somebody you have not seen. And come on in.
Hi, guys. I'm Patrick.
Everybody, this is Patrick. He is, oh, wow, let there be light. He is going to be one of our Zoolife hosts here on this side at Santa Barbara. So we wanted to take some time and introduce him this morning. But before we jump right into that, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please drop them in the comment section. Off to the side, we will be sure to be checking that as we're chatting today, and we'll be sure to answer all of your questions to the best of our abilities. And hopefully you enjoy what we have to share with you. So Patrick, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about what you do, your role here, maybe like a quick little snippet of your journey.
Brief synopsis. All right.
He has quite the journey. So
I have a journey, yes. Hi, I'm Patrick. I am in the animal department here at Santa Barbara Zoo. Bridged version of my time here is I started as a volunteer many years ago and absolutely fell in love with the job and what it meant to be a zookeeper. And so I stuck with it and worked here through a little bit of high school, college, ended up coming back for a while after college, left and came back. So this is actually now my third time working here, probably 15 years overall. So been here many years, seen a lot of fun stuff, done a lot of cool things. So it's very exciting to be able to share what I do and what we do here at the zoo with all of you out there in a new and different way. So yeah, if you have any questions, let me know about the leopards here or myself. Oh, it looks like a question just popped up. What did I take in college? Thank you, Jules. I got my BS in animal science. So I did a animal science based undergraduate program, and it was a pretty general degree. A lot of people use that degree to go into more specific things like veterinary school, education, the zoo field, different areas, different careers like that. I chose to focus mainly in the zoo field and stuck with animal care and training, behavior, and all that fun stuff. So, a little bit about me. I was lucky enough to be here at the zoo when the leopards came the first time many years ago. I think that was in the mid 90s. And then I was lucky to be back when Kasha, our male who resides here now, was brought in to breed with Ajax and produced the lovely Marta, who we all know and love. So yeah, it's a little bit of my history. Been around a while. Love it. Live it. I've recently transitioned into a more administrative role, so I'm not a keeper.
No, we're sad. We're sad we lost him as a keeper. Keepers were just beside ourselves. We're so happy for you, but
I'm still around.
Yeah, we still make him do projects for us.
So yes, I'm lucky to be able to still be in the animal department here at the zoo, still working fairly close with the keepers, and I still get to see the animals here and there. So I now work in the administrative side, helping with animal transactions, animal record keeping. I've been helping with a couple different studies that we're doing here at the zoo, one of which involves Kasha. Another study we're doing with another one of our leopards, and then other studies as needed, and then some administrative support as well.
So we wanted to we thought today would be a great opportunity because Patrick has, a lot of Amur leopard knowledge, but he has done a lot of work with Kasha, for Kasha, the male Amur leopard that we have here that unfortunately you guys at Zoolife don't get a chance or an opportunity to see very often or at all at this point. But we still get a lot of questions about him. People are still curious to know about him. They want to know what he's up to, where he is, how he's doing. And we thought today would be a great opportunity to shine a little bit of the spotlight on Kasha, Marta's dad. And Patrick is a great resource for that because he was here when Kasha arrived. So he was one of the first keepers that worked with Kasha. And then we are doing a study with Kasha right now on some of his behaviors. And Patrick has been one of the leading people on that and doing all of the hard work that's going into that. So we thought we would share a little bit about him, give him a little bit of an introduction. So if his debut ever does come up on Zoolife, it won't be brand new. You guys will be excited to see, put a face to the name. So that's kind of where we're going to go with today.
Yeah, so I'll give you guys a little history of Kasha. I'm not sure how much you guys have heard so far, but Kasha was born in a facility just outside Paris, France. He lived there for several years, and then he came to the U.S., I believe specifically to be a breeding cat, to introduce some new genes into the species population here in the States. So Kasha came to us from Brookfield Zoo in 2020. I believe it was early 2020, right after COVID kind of hit. So it was probably March of 2020. At the time, I was fortunate to be working with Ajax still, and was there for the unloading of Kasha and getting him acclimated and settled into his new home here at the Santa Barbara Zoo. So it was very cool to be able to be one of the first people to be around him, to observe him, to kind of get to know him, understand his personality, and kind of what kind of a cat he was going to be. He has definitely changed a little bit or a lot, depending on how you look at it, since he came here. He's been always kind of a very mellow cat. He's been very interested in us. But he also didn't have a lot of experience, I think, with some of the enrichment items we gave him, which was kind of funny to see. So we do a lot of enrichment for animals here at the Santa Barbara Zoo. And that helps stimulate them in different ways. It can be mentally, it can be physically, gives them things to do, things to think about. And that can be anything from hiding their food, hanging their food up. I'm sure you've seen some bones hanging up for Marta and Ajax in the yard there. And different challenges for them throughout their day to make it a little exciting, a little more interesting for them, get them a little exercise. So Kasha was very inexperienced in different enrichment items and really what enrichment was. So I would give him things in the very beginning, and he really didn't know what to do with them. He would just kind of look at if it was a cardboard box with a treat inside, he would really not know how to get to the treat, what to do with the box. But over time, he's definitely learned how to figure out and problem solve, which is great. It's been challenging for him, and it keeps him stimulated in different ways. So he's now definitely much more active when it comes to enrichment. He's much more intrigued and interested in figuring out, hey, there is actually something here that he can get to or play with or manipulate in different ways. So that was one of the cool things that I had been able to watch, and now Katie and Joe and everyone else has been able to continue that and kind of keep him engaged in different ways as well.
Absolutely.
We got a question from Jules. What behaviors are they studying with him? So we're just looking at kind of how he spends his day and how he spends his time right now to just get a better understanding of how he spends his time, essentially, and what his preferences are and what we can do to make his time here even more comfortable and more what's the right word I'm looking for here? Just trying to make him more comfortable here, if you will, I guess. These cats are solitary animals, so they don't spend a lot of time together. But he definitely does have his preferences on where he spends his time and where he spends his day. So we're just trying to put together a better picture because, we are here 8 hours a day, so we don't really know what he does at night. So it's interesting to see what he does at night when we're not here Does he sleep a lot? Does he spend a lot of time in his own enclosure looking around? And how long does he groom himself? How long does he spend manipulating the enrichment we give him? So different things like that is just kind of what we're looking at.
Yeah, with animals, a lot of the way in which they communicate with us is through their behaviors. They can't speak to us, they can't use their words. And so, kind of like Patrick was saying, we're only here for a short period of the day. So we only see what we can when we're here. And that's just a little snippet of who Kasha is and what he does and what he likes. So Patrick has actually been spending, I don't even know how many days at this point and how many hours, but
good chunk of time
re-looking at video footage and going through minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, just to get a small amount of data to kind of better understand the behaviors that he's displaying and therefore what he's telling us. Have you learned a lot more about him after you watched?
Not yet. A lot of that data that I collected is now being analyzed and put into specific graphs and charts, if you will, by our conservation and research staff here at the zoo. So they've taken all that data that I inputted, and they are now working out on the back end to just kind of see if there are any correlations between where he likes to spend the most amount of time, how much he's up, what he's doing, his activity budget, and all that fun stuff. So it'll be interesting to see when that's done.
Yeah, definitely. But when Kasha came, he was, what, 9? It got to be 8. He
would have been 9.
Almost 9.
He was born in 2000, so he would have been 10, right? Yeah.
So 2010.
2010, yes. Sorry.
Math is hard, guys.
I'm not good at math. Yes. 2010, he was born.
Okay. So he's, already been here for a couple years, so he's up to 11. He's almost 12.
He's almost 12. He'll be 12 in May.
12 in May, which is he's getting up there for Amur leopards, especially males. But he's got a lot of good years left ahead of him, and hopefully we'll have him for plenty of those years to come.
Yep.
I think we were talking how big he is now. He's around like 80, in between like 80 and 85 pounds. So right around almost 40 kgs, and seems to be kind of doing really well for a cat that came not too long ago. And I think Marta is probably the biggest show of that. I don't think if he was thriving or doing well, we would have beautiful little Marta. So that's a little bit about him. He was born in France. So he originally born overseas, not here in the United States. I am not entirely sure what year he came over to the States, but I do know that he was at Brookfield Zoo before he came here, and he has sired cubs before, and his success has been noticed, and that is how we got him here.
Yep, and that's why he was sent here to be with Ajax, because he was a proven breeder, and his genetics are very valuable. So they were matched up to create Marta.
We got another good question from Jules. Does he ever vocalize to communicate with other leopards? He does vocalize. It's not as often as you would think. Sometimes if Ajax vocalizes, he'll respond, or sometimes he'll just vocalize, either when it's close to feeding time, or if it's, right about dusk, right before we leave at the end of the day, he tends to vocalize. So sometimes we will hear it. Yeah, and it's kind of almost like a bellowing.
Like a raspy bellow.
It's not something you think that, it's not a sound that you would expect out of a cat.
Yeah.
It's something you might expect out of like a gorilla or, a greater ape, but not necessarily a leopard. But they do vocalize, so they definitely are close enough that they could still hear each other when it comes to that.
And they do live next to each other, not together, obviously. So Kasha, in this picture, if you look to the left, past I think that's Marta there in the tree, he has his own area, an outdoor exhibit area and an indoor exhibit area where he does live separately at this point from the two girls. So he has his own area, his own territory, and is living over there right now.
Lorena being our savior for today. looked it up for us. Thank you so much, Lorena. Kasha got to Brookfield in May of 2013.
Oh, thanks. Shout out to Lorena.
Shout out to Lorena. Thanks, Lorena.
Does anyone else have any questions before we wrap it up here?
Will he be matched with Ajax again? That's a really good question. Do you want to touch a little bit on that?
Yeah, it's ideally probably yes, but that's all part of the master plan. So there's a bigger body of scientists and zoologists and people in the zoo community here in the US that kind of plan out all the breeding recommendations for all the animals in AZA zoos here in the US. So Marta, Ajax, and Kasha are all part of the Amur leopard SSP, which is the species survival plan. And so there are people designated to kind of make matches for who's to breed with who based on genetic diversity, genetic viability, and importance of their genes. So these two were paired together because of that. So maybe down the line, but that's up to the bigger body to decide at some point. We would also, Marta would need to be old enough probably to move to another facility, be placed in another facility where she would then be paired with hopefully a male. And then at that point, I think we could, if recommended, have Ajax and Kasha back together. So definitely, hopefully down the line.
And we don't know, we're not quite at the stage yet where we know if and when Kasha will get access back to the main exhibit, the exhibit that you guys are looking at right now. So there's no real timeline on that. So I'm not sure, when he'll make his debut or if he'll make his debut and when you guys will get a chance to meet him. But we felt like it was kind of time to talk a little bit more about him because the girls get so much FaceTime with you guys that we can't forget to shine some light on Mr. Kasha, who has definitely played a really big role in here at our zoo and with the species, in general, especially the zoo population. So we just wanted to kind of touch on him a little bit. And of course, if you guys have more questions about Kasha, drop them in that comment section, and we do check it fairly regularly, and we can, between all of the hosts that we have now here on our side, we can hopefully make sure that we answer those questions even when we're not doing the live streams.
Yep, and I'll be back next Thursday at 11 o'clock.
Yep, we'll be back to
our questions. So we'll be back on our normal schedule. This was just kind of a makeup because of our technical difficulties last week. So.
And yesterday, during our normal time, we had our flamingo exams yesterday, our flamingo annual exams. So for those of you who are familiar with how that goes, each flamingo, every individual in every zoo gets an exam at some point, whether it's once a year or every couple of years. But we did that yesterday for our entire flamingo flock, which is 46 birds. So we were busy with that. So unfortunately,
how many hours were you out there?
Couldn't join you guys. We started at 9 a.m. and we wrapped up at 1 p.m. Pacific time. So it was a full 4-hour, full throttle, all hands on deck situation. We were super sad. We couldn't stop by and say hi to you guys yesterday. We just quite literally had our hands full. Yep. So next week, Patrick will be back. He will be chatting with you guys about something super fun, I'm sure. And we just wanted to kind of softly introduce him. And we were supposed to do it last week, but technology doesn't always work in our favor. And we really appreciate you guys being patient with us and Zoolife while we were trying to troubleshoot and figure it out. So thank you very much for being patient and coming back.
Yep.
And we hope you enjoyed today.
Yes. Let us know what you think, and we will see you next week. Have a good weekend.
It's mirrored. All right, guys. Take care. We'll see you next time.
Bye.